tile repair test, but I'll talk about that one later. Next, I'll talk about the Peggy and Yuri EVA, which is expected to be a 6.5-hour EVA. So let's roll that video. Here you can see the P6 solar arrays newly deployed on the far right-hand side. On this EVA, Peggy will come out of the hatch first, followed by Yuri. They'll both make their way to the forward end of the lab. Peggy's operating on the left side of the screen and Yuri's on the right. The main objective here is to clear the area of cables and obstructions for the eventual installation of Node 2 and some fluid trays. The first task they work on is demating the Spitz power transfer cables. And next they'll disconnect 8 cables that run between the pressurized mating adapter and the lab, and they'll temporarily tie those off. After that, they demate connectors on the rigid umbilicals on each side of the lab, temporarily stowing them out of the way on the lab and other places. These need to be removed so that they're accessible once fluid umbilical trays are installed on top of these during the stage after the Node 2 move. Here Peggy's working on some of those cables. During this time, Yuri will also be installing caps on his side of the lab to cap the receptacles left open by the PMA cable demates. And Peggy will also remove a light that will later be in the way of those trays. You can see it flashing here on the left. After the new trays are installed on top of these, the light can be reinstalled. Here's Peggy with the light headed to the airlock. Near where this handrail is flashing, Yuri will go up onto the truss and configure the port squib firing unit for deploy of the P1 outboard radiators. He also might loosen some bolts for the next flight while he's in the area if there's time. Next, they both head down to Node 2 to remove the active common berthing mechanism cover. It's the ACBM cover. This cover's been protecting the sealing surface and mechanisms, but now it must be removed to allow the pressurized mating adapter to be berthed. The cover is held on by a strap that goes around the circumference. So after loosening the strap, they work together to bundle it up. And you can see at first here they're halving it somewhat. Then they'll use wire ties to get the bundle fairly tight. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. Whatever works is what we're going to go with. And then the shroud will be taken back to the airlock where it can be put into the progress as trash. Next, Yuri travels back behind the Z1 truss almost to the Russian segment. And here he'll be taking an electrical jumper out of the system in order to reconfigure a power system. And a similar task was done in the vicinity on STS-116. At the same time, Peggy will be performing a different configuration over in a starboard part of what we call the rat's nest. Here she'll be working with a power cable that was previously wire-tied on the S0 aft tray. This is the general vicinity of the connectors. When she's done with the cables, she'll be retrieving a box called the baseband signal processor so it can be upgraded on the ground. She brings that into the airlock. And lastly, there's some bag and tool reconfigurations that are required to help shorten the stage EVAs that immediately follow this flight. They transfer tools between the bags and move a bag to the S0 truss. After the EVA, the station will be ready for removing the pressurized mating adapter and Node 2 after the shuttle departs. Another EVA that you've been hearing about this morning is still in the approval process, and it's dedicated to the testing of tile repair material. If approved, this EVA will be inserted between EVAs 3 and 4, and it will be performed by Scott Perzynski and Doug Wheelock. For this EVA, we chose our shuttle crew members who are already trained in tile repair. And we're glad to have Scott on board because he's been involved with the tile repair